In section 9, we're taking a look at defining different types of angles formed when lines intersect. And we're also looking to define what a transversal is. So here we have line AB and line EF. And again, we can't see the whole line. We're just seeing a segment representation of that. But we have this other line here, CD, that is going to cross both of them. Based on our view, that's the only one that we see crossing two others. That's what we define as a transversal. So CD is the transversal for AB and EF. So now we want to take a look at the different types of angles that we have. So I'm going to click first on corresponding, and we're going to see what those actually are. So we have different pairs of corresponding angles. The ones in blue are corresponding, and the ones in green are corresponding, and the ones in red are corresponding, and the ones in purple here are corresponding. The main idea here is that when we have these lines intersecting and crossed by that transversal, what we're going to have is we're going to have two regions, an inside region, which is highlighted here, and then we're also going to have an outside region, which is all in this area here. So for corresponding angles, you'll notice that the blue angles are both on the same side of the transversal. That's key, that's huge. And one of them is inside between the two lines that are being crossed by the transversal, and the other's outside. And they're not right next to each other. One's crossing AB and one's crossing EF as well. So they're formed by those two different lines. That's going to be key for that corresponding angle definition. For vertical angles, these are a little bit easier to identify. These are the blue angles here and the red angles here, and the green and purple in this case. Vertical angles are the ones that when you have two lines, exactly two lines, you can't have more, but exactly two lines intersecting, A, B, and C, D, so that's this relationship right here. They're the angles that are across from each other. And same thing down here with C, D, and EF. These angles that are across from each other are the vertical angles. Alternate interior angles, no surprise, they're inside between the two lines. And alternate means they're on opposite sides of the transversal. So we have these two blue angles right here. And again, I can move this point B around and change the fact that they're on the opposite side of the transversal and they're both between. And same thing with those red pair of angles. Shouldn't be surprising that in alternate exterior angles, it's the same basic idea, opposite sides of the transversal, both of them outside of those lines. And then interior same side, we're going to call them same side interior angles. It's basically the same idea. But these are angles, the blue angles here, the red angles here, that are on the same side of the transversal, but both inside. And same thing with same side exterior angles. So this is no matter what the relationship between the lines are. Are they parallel? Are they not? It really doesn't matter. The location of those angles doesn't really change. Their measures will change, but the location doesn't. Now something interesting happens when we click parallel. So again, if we go to our corresponding angles, you'll notice that if I start moving this around, everything gets adjusted, and those angle pairs that are corresponding end up being congruent, 114.9, 114.9. No matter how I move it, I can move that point F, although that just moves the line, but if I move B anywhere, it doesn't change the relationship. And I can move that point C also. The corresponding angles are going to be congruent if the lines are parallel. If they're not, we can't necessarily make that conclusion. So again, if I unclick parallel, they're not the same. Looking at vertical angles, again, we can see here clearly that the blue pair of angles, the red pair of angles, and the purple and the green are all the same. So the blues are the same, the reds are the same, and so on. And move the angles point around, change the angle measure, doesn't change the relationship. If I unclick parallel, it's still true. So we take a look at our vertical angles. A pair of blue or red or green or purple, they are the same when you move those points around. Okay? So it's interesting that this is one of those where it doesn't matter if they're parallel or not. Most, it really makes a difference if they are. So if we click on parallel again and go to alternate interior angles, you'll notice that those appear to be congruent. If we unclick it, they're not. I'm guessing you can figure this one out. Alternate exterior are also congruent if the lines are parallel. And if we unclick parallel, you can see clearly that they're not going to be. They're still alternate exterior. They're just not congruent. these ones are interesting. Interior, same side interior angles. If you look at the red ones and the blue ones, yes, the red and the blue here are equal, these are equal, and so on. But the main idea on this is that if we add these up, so if we take 116.1 plus 63.9, we get 180 degrees. So our same side interior angles are supplementary. If the lines are parallel, let's just double check. Yep, they got to be parallel to make that relationship hold true. And similarly, same side exterior angles will have that same relationship. So again, same side exterior angles, if the lines are parallel, will be supplementary. And that's it for section 9. I'm just talking about the different types of lines that we have and the relationships between the angles when the lines are parallel.